In the dark silence of space, a faint signal broke through the endless noise. It was weak, almost lost, but clear enough to be heard by the sensitive instruments orbiting Earth. The signal was a call for help, and it came from far beyond the stars that humans had explored. At the Space Command Center, located deep underground, the signal caught everyone's attention. Commander Sarah Lee sat forward in her chair, eyes fixed on the screen that displayed the strange message. She was a calm and experienced leader, but even she could not hide the surprise in her voice. This signal, it's not from any known human or probe, Sarah said. It's alien, and it's asking for help. Around the room, scientists and military officers exchanged uneasy looks. The room buzzed with quiet murmurs. Dr. James Carter, a leading xenolinguist, stepped forward. He studied the pattern carefully. It's a language we've never seen before, he said slowly, but it's repeating the same phrase over and over. Help us. We are dying. Please come. The room fell silent. Help. They were begging for help. From who? And why? The news spread quickly across the world. People watched the broadcast on their screens, their faces filled with a mix of fear and hope. Some believed it was a trap, a trick from a dangerous enemy. Others thought it was a chance to make the first contact with a friendly alien race. Leaders of Earth gathered in an emergency meeting. The question was simple but terrifying. Should humanity respond? Should they send a rescue team into the unknown? Many argued for caution. General Morales, a hardened veteran, warned, "We don't know who they are. It could be an enemy trying to lure us into a trap." But others, like Dr. Carter, believed in the good of humanity. "We have a chance to show that humans care," he said. "Maybe this is the moment we prove that we are not just conquerors, but helpers." After long hours of debate, the decision was made. A team of astronauts and scientists would travel to the source of the signal. They would find out what happened and offer aid if possible. The rescue ship, the Pioneer, was ready in just a few days. It was fast and well-equipped, carrying a small crew led by Captain Elena Ruiz. She was young but brave, with a calm confidence that inspired her team. As the Pioneer launched into the blackness of space, Earth watched with bated breath. The journey was tense. The crew communicated with Earth constantly, sharing every detail. The alien world was far, beyond any place humans had traveled before. As they moved closer, strange things began to happen. Unexplained bursts of energy interfered with their instruments. Radio signals from Earth grew weaker. The crew felt as if invisible eyes were watching them. One night, Captain Ruiz looked out at the stars from the ship's window. The blackness seemed alive, full of secrets. "Are we really ready for this?" she asked quietly. Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Mark Davis, shrugged. "We don't have a choice. We have to help." After weeks of travel, the Pioneer arrived at the coordinates. Below them was a planet unlike any seen before. The surface was scarred and dark. Smoke rose from places that looked like ruined cities. The rescue team prepared to land. The air was thick with tension. When they touched down, the silence was eerie. The city was empty. Buildings lay broken and streets were cracked and overgrown. No sign of life. Captain Ruiz led the team carefully through the ruins. They found strange symbols carved into walls, warnings, prayers. The meaning was lost to time. In one building, they discovered a room filled with strange machines. Some were still warm, as if recently used. A recording device suddenly activated, playing a chilling message. "We tried to fight, but they are too strong. Our world falls. Please, help us." The team felt a cold shiver. The message ended with a desperate cry. Then from the shadows a small figure appeared. It was an alien, a child. His skin was pale, eyes wide with fear and hope. He spoke softly in a broken language. Dr. Carter quickly used a translator device. "Please, save us," the child said. Captain Ruiz looked at her team. This was what they came for. A life, a soul to save. But the child's presence raised more questions than answers. Who were the enemies? Why was the planet destroyed? And what danger might still be lurking? Back on Earth, communication with the Pioneer grew strange. The strange signals intensified, sometimes jamming the feed. Scientists were worried. The rescue team prepared to take the child with them. They promised to find help. But the silence of the ruined planet remained, as if it was watching them leave. As the Pioneer turned to go home, the child looked out the window, eyes full of pain and fear. The message was clear. This was only the beginning. The rescue ship Pioneer cut through the darkness of space on its way back to Earth. The small alien child sat quietly in the medical bay, staring at the stars outside the window. His eyes held sadness beyond his years. Captain Elena Ruiz watched him closely, wondering what stories he kept locked inside. The crew was tense but hopeful. They had found the child alive, but what did that mean for the rest of the alien race? Where were the others? What had happened to their world? As Pioneer neared Earth's orbit, the ship's sensors picked up strange signals again, like the planet's distress calls, but this time, stronger and closer. The signals interfered with their communications. Radio channels went silent or scrambled with static. On the bridge, Lieutenant Mark Davis frowned. "Something's wrong," he said. "The signals are jamming us. We can't get a clear connection to Earth." Captain Ruiz nodded. "We have to keep trying. Earth needs to know what we found." Meanwhile, on Earth, the Space Command Center was in chaos. The strange signals were now affecting satellites and power grids. Some cities experienced blackouts. People grew anxious, asking questions nobody could answer. Dr. James Carter studied the signals closely. "They're repeating patterns, but now they sound angry," he told Commander Sarah Lee. "It's like the planet is screaming. Whatever happened there is not over." Back on Pioneer, the alien child, whom they named Kieran, began to speak more. With the help of translation devices, he told his story in broken sentences. His people, he said, were called the Valari. They had lived on the planet Valara, a beautiful world once full of life and peace, but then the darkness came. Kieran described the enemy as the Hunters, a cruel and violent race that destroyed everything. They attacked cities, killed families, and left nothing behind but ruins. The Valari fought back, but they were weak. "Against the Hunters' weapons we ran," Kieran whispered. "But many died." The rescue team listened in silence. The child's words painted a grim picture. The Valari were survivors, but barely. Captain Ruiz asked, "Why did your people send the signal for help? What did you hope we could do?" Kieran looked down. "We had no choice. We hoped someone stronger would come." The crew exchanged worried glances. If the Hunters were still out there, were they coming to Earth next? Suddenly, the ship's alarms blared. Multiple unidentified ships approaching fast. Lieutenant Davis shouted. The Pioneer's crew rushed to their stations. On the view screen, dark shapes appeared, moving with speed and precision. "It's them," said Captain Ruiz quietly. "The Hunters." The rescue team scrambled to prepare defenses, but the Pioneer was not built for war. It was a ship meant for exploration and rescue, not battle. The Hunters' ships fired warning shots, laser blasts that shook the hull. Captain Ruiz ordered evasive maneuvers. "We need to get Kieran and get out of here," she said. "We can't fight them." The chase lasted minutes that felt like hours. The Pioneer dodged blasts, racing through asteroid fields and debris. The Hunters were relentless. Back on Earth, the military scrambled ships to assist, but the sudden appearance of enemy vessels near the solar system sent shockwaves through the government. This was no longer a rescue mission. It was a fight for survival. In the chaos, Kieran's story grew darker. He spoke of his people's last hope, a hidden colony far from Valara. It was a secret refuge, a place the Hunters had not yet found. "We must find it," Kieran said urgently. "There are others alive. We must save them." Captain Ruiz made a decision. "We're changing course," she announced. "We'll search for this colony. If there are survivors, they need us." The crew prepared for the unknown. The search would be dangerous. They were deep in enemy territory, with hunters nearby and little information about the hidden colony. Days passed as Pioneer scanned every signal, every shadow among the stars. The tension was heavy. No one slept well. Then, finally, the ship's sensors picked up a faint heat signature on a distant moon orbiting a gas giant. It was a small settlement. Lights, structures, and signs of life. "Could this be it?" asked Lieutenant Davis. Captain Ruiz nodded. "Prepare for landing." As the Pioneer descended, the crew saw a colony unlike Valara. It was smaller, built into caves and cliffs to hide from enemies. The air was thin, but life was there. The team landed carefully. The colony was empty, at least at first glance. But signs of recent activity were everywhere. Fires still warm, food stores stocked, machines humming softly. Captain Ruiz led the group deeper into the colony. Suddenly, from behind a rock, figures appeared. Valari survivors, thin and scared but alive. The survivors rushed forward, crying and hugging each other. When they saw the humans, there was a mix of fear and hope. One woman stepped forward. Her eyes were fierce but tired. "You came for us," she said. "Thank you." The rescue team quickly learned that the hunters had not found this colony yet. The survivors were hiding, hoping for rescue, but their stories were chilling. The hunters would return, stronger and more brutal than before. The survivors spoke of torture, death, and betrayal. Captain Ruiz promised to protect them. But deep down, she knew their mission was only beginning. As the Pioneer prepared to leave with the survivors, a shadow moved in the distance. Something was watching. Lieutenant Davis spotted it on the sensors. "Captain, we're not alone here." Before they could react, a sudden explosion rocked the colony's entrance. The hunters had found them. The rescue team scrambled to defend. The survivors. Lasers fired, alarms blared, and the fight to survive began. The battle was fierce and fast. On the rocky surface of the hidden colony, the rescue team and Valari survivors fought side by side against the hunters. Bright laser blasts cut through the dusty air. Shouts and alarms filled the sky. Captain Elena, Ruiz moved with purpose. "Hold the line! Protect the survivors!" she ordered. The hunters were strong and ruthless. They used strange weapons that made the ground shake. But the humans had one advantage: determination. They fought not just for themselves but for the innocent lives depending on them. Lieutenant Mark Davis fired his rifle with steady hands. He saw a hunter moving toward a group of children. Without thinking, he charged forward and drove the enemy back. His heart pounded, but he did not stop. In the chaos, the alien child Kieran ran to the colony's communication tower. He needed to send a message to Earth, warning them about the hunters. With trembling fingers, Kieran activated the old equipment. A crackling voice finally came through, weak but clear. "This is Kieran of the Valari. The hunters are here. They destroy everything. Earth must prepare." Back on Pioneer, Captain Ruiz made a quick decision. "We need to leave, now," she shouted. "The colony can't hold them off." The survivors gathered their few belongings and boarded the ship as fast as possible. The hunters pressed their attack, but the rescue team fought fiercely to buy time. As the last survivor climbed aboard, the colony's entrance exploded in a cloud of dust and rock. The hunters roared in anger but did not follow. Pioneer blasted off into space, escaping the immediate danger. The survivors huddled together, exhausted and scared. Captain Ruiz looked at Kieran. "We need to know more about these hunters," she said. "Who are they? Why do they want to destroy your people?" Kieran's eyes darkened. "They are old, older than stars. They come to kill. They take nothing but death." Dr. James Carter stepped forward. "We need details, Kieran. Anything that can help Earth defend itself." Kieran nodded slowly. "The hunters come from a place far away, a dark system beyond the galaxy's edge. They are like shadow monsters. They eat planets. They want to destroy all life. My people fought them for centuries, but we were too weak." The crew listened, in silence. This was more than an enemy. It was a force of destruction unlike anything Earth had faced. Captain Ruiz asked. Why did your people send the call for help? Did you think humans could stop them? Kieran looked down, sadness in his voice. We had no choice. We had no one else. We hoped humans were strong enough. The team realized the weight of the moment. Earth was now part of a larger war, a war for survival against a merciless enemy. Suddenly, the ship's sensors beeped loudly. Lieutenant Davis checked the readings. Captain, there's something else. Another signal. It's coming from inside the Hunter's own fleet. On the view screen, images showed a hidden message, encrypted and fast-moving. Dr. Carter worked quickly to decode it. It's a warning, he said, voice tense. The Hunters are not just attacking Valara. They are planning to strike Earth soon. They see humans as a threat. The crew exchanged grim looks. Time was running out. Captain Ruiz made her decision. We must warn Earth, and we must prepare to fight back, with everything we have. The rescue ship changed course, heading back toward Earth, but the journey would not be easy. In the darkness of space, shadows moved. The Hunters were watching, waiting for the right moment to strike. Back on Earth, the news of the Hunters' threat spread like wildfire. People watched in shock and fear as the government prepared for the worst. The peaceful world they knew was now facing an enemy unlike any before, a race that destroyed everything in its path. Commander Sarah Lee stood before a large screen in the Space Command Center. The room was packed with military leaders, scientists, and government officials. Everyone waited to hear what would come next. Sarah's voice was steady but firm. We face a threat unlike any we've seen. The Hunters want to destroy us just like they did to the Valari. We must act quickly. There is no time for mercy. The room buzzed with tension. Some leaders nodded in agreement. Others looked worried. Dr. James Carter stepped forward. We have learned a lot from the rescue team and the Valari survivors. The Hunters are brutal, but we also have new technology from Valara. It could help us build weapons they have never seen. The military wasted no time. Factories switched to producing new, powerful weapons. Scientists worked day and night, testing strange new designs that combined human and alien technology. Some weapons could destroy entire ships in seconds. Others could jam enemy communications and disable their shields. Captain Elena Ruiz watched the preparations from a secure room. She understood the cost. This is war, she told her team. We can't fight like before, we must be brutal to survive. But not everyone agreed. In a quiet corner, a group of diplomats and philosophers debated the plan. We must remember who we are, said Ambassador Lee. We cannot become monsters like the Hunters. Sometimes, a soldier replied, to protect our people, we must be strong, brutal if needed. The debate was intense, but the decision was clear. Earth would fight back, with force and without mercy. The first battle came sooner than expected. In the orbit of Mars, Hunter ships appeared like shadows against the red planet's surface. Human ships scrambled to defend the colony. The battle was brutal. Lasers lit up space. Explosions shook the stars. Captain Ruiz commanded the fleet from her ship, the Pioneer, now armed with new weapons. Fire at will, she ordered. Take no prisoners. Human ships launched a surprise attack. The Hunters had never seen such weapons. Their ships were torn apart in moments, but the victory was not without cost. Several human ships were lost. Many brave soldiers died. After the battle, Captain Ruiz looked at the stars. The Hunters had retreated, but they would return. And next time, the fight would be even worse. Meanwhile, the alien child Kieran watched quietly. He had seen his people suffer. Now he saw humanity's true face, harsh, angry, and ready to fight. One night, Kieran asked Captain Ruiz, "Why are you so brutal? You promised to help, but now you destroy." Ruiz paused. "Because sometimes to save the good we must be strong. We cannot let the Hunters win." Kieran looked away, sadness in his eyes. As Earth prepared for the next attack, tension grew inside the rescue team. Some feared that in fighting the Hunters, humanity might lose its soul, but there was no time to think. The war had begun. The war against the hunters was no longer a distant threat. It was at Earth's doorstep. Cities across the globe were on high alert. Military bases buzzed with activity. People waited, some praying, others preparing for the worst. Captain Elena Ruiz and her crew on Pioneer worked tirelessly. They trained day and night, learning new tactics to fight the brutal enemy. But beneath the surface, doubts began to grow. Kieran, the Valari child, watched humanity's preparations with heavy eyes. He had hoped for help, but what he saw made him question everything. One evening, in the ship's quiet observation room, Kieran spoke softly to Captain Ruiz. "Your people fight with anger," he said, "but the hunters fight with hate. Will this end, or will more die?" Elena looked out at the stars, her jaw tight. "I don't know, but we must survive." Dr. James Carter joined them. "Kieran is right. If we become too brutal, we risk losing what makes us human." Elena shook her head. "It's a war. There's no room for kindness now." That night, strange things began to happen on Earth. Satellites lost contact. Power grids flickered. Rumors spread of secret attacks on peaceful colonies on Mars, and the Moon Commander Sarah Lee received an urgent message. "Enemy forces have launched surprise strikes," the report said. "Casualties are rising." The news shocked the world. People wondered if the hunters had spies or technology beyond their understanding. Inside the Space Command Center, tensions rose. Some leaders blamed the rescue mission for bringing danger to Earth. "They warned us," a politician said. "But now our world is at risk." Others argued that ignoring the cry for help would have been worse. Meanwhile, on Pioneer, the crew prepared for another dangerous mission. This time they would track the hunters' main fleet, to strike before the enemy could reach Earth again. As they traveled through space, Lieutenant Mark Davis scanned the area. "Captain, I'm picking up an unusual signal. It's human." Everyone froze. Could it be a spy? Or a traitor? Elena nodded. "Prepare for interception. We can't risk anyone working with the hunters." The ship moved toward the source, tension thick in the air. When they found the signal, it was a small, damaged spacecraft drifting alone. Inside was a man unconscious but alive. The crew brought him aboard. When he woke, he spoke with fear. "I'm Lieutenant Harper," he said. "I was captured and forced to work for the hunters. They have spies everywhere, even here." His words sent a chill through the crew. Kieran looked at Harper with distrust. "Why should we believe you?" Harper's eyes were desperate. "Because I want to help. The hunters want to destroy us all." Captain Ruiz faced a new enemy, one that wore the mask of a friend. Trust was fragile. As Pioneer approached the hunters' fleet, the crew prepared for a fight not just in space, but for the truth. The tension on Pioneer was thicker than the cold vacuum of space. Lieutenant Harper's arrival had shaken the crew. Some believed his story, but others whispered doubts behind closed doors. Captain Elena Ruiz gathered her officers in the ship's conference room. Her voice was calm but firm. "We have to be careful. The hunters have spies. They want to divide us from within. Trust no one completely." Lieutenant Mark Davis spoke up. "How can we know Harper is telling the truth? He might be a double agent." Dr. James Carter added, "We must watch him closely, but we cannot let fear stop us from learning what he knows." Harper sat quietly, his eyes full of guilt. He told them about the hunters' cruel tactics, forcing prisoners to betray their own, spreading lies and creating chaos. "They want us to fight each other," he said. "That's how they win." Despite the warnings, strange things began happening on Pioneer. Equipment failed without explanation. Messages disappeared. Crew members felt watched. One night, Kieran found a secret message hidden in the ship's data, a signal sent to the hunters. He raced to Captain Ruiz. "Someone here is sending information to the enemy," he said urgently. Ruiz's face hardened. "We have a traitor." The crew searched the ship, questioning each other. Fear grew like wildfire. Lieutenant Davis caught a crew member sneaking near the communication room. The man was trying to send a message through the ship's encrypted system. When confronted, the man confessed. He was scared, but loyal to the hunters. He believed their promise of power. The traitor was locked up, but the damage was done. The crew's trust was broken. Captain Ruiz looked around at her team, weary but determined. We must be stronger. We fight not only the hunters outside, but the fear inside us. Kieran watched silently, knowing that war was not just battles and weapons. It was also battles of the heart. As Pioneer closed in on the hunters' fleet, the crew prepared for their most dangerous mission yet. But deep in the shadows, another betrayal waited, one that could change everything. The Pioneer approached the heart of the hunters' fleet, a massive armada shadowing a dark star. The crew knew this battle would decide the fate of humanity and the Valari alike. Captain Elena Ruiz stood on the bridge, her hands gripping the railing. Around her, the crew prepared weapons, checked shields, and said silent prayers. Kieran, the Valari child, stood beside her, no longer a scared boy but a symbol of hope. He whispered, "This is where we end the darkness." The enemy ships loomed ahead, their black hulls like teeth ready to tear through space. The hunters had no mercy, no fear. Suddenly, the hunters fired first. The Pioneer rocked as lasers slammed into its shields. Explosions flashed outside the windows. "Return fire. Focus on their command ship," Captain Ruiz ordered. The battle was chaos. Ships zoomed and darted, weapons flared, and the void of space was lit by destruction. Lieutenant Mark Davis piloted through the enemy lines with skill and courage. "We're breaking their defenses," he shouted, but the hunters had a secret weapon, a massive energy cannon capable of destroying planets. Dr. James Carter worked frantically to disable it. "If they fire that, Earth is finished." Kieran joined the effort, using his knowledge of Valari technology to help Carter. Together they raced against time. Meanwhile, Captain Ruiz led a strike team boarding the hunters' command ship. Their mission: to destroy the cannon from inside. The halls of the enemy ship were cold and dark. The team moved silently, fighting off hunters in brutal hand-to-hand combat. Inside the command center, they found the cannon's controls. Explosives were set. As they fought their way out, the cannon began charging, glowing with deadly power. Back on the Pioneer, the energy cannon fired, a beam of pure destruction aimed at Earth. Suddenly, the cannon exploded, cut off by Ruiz's team just in time. The hunters' fleet faltered. Human and Valari forces pressed the attack, breaking through enemy lines. The remaining hunters fled into the dark reaches of space. The battle was won, but at a heavy cost. Many brave souls were lost. On the Pioneer, the survivors gathered. Captain Ruiz looked at Kieran. "You showed us the way," she said softly. "Together, we stopped the darkness." Kieran smiled faintly. "Hope lives because of all of you." Back on Earth, the news spread. Humanity had faced the brutal enemy and survived, stronger and united. But in the quiet corners of space, shadows still waited. The war was over for now,